You're transported 200 years into the past with a fully charged smartphone but no charger. What do? Lower my brightness. Somebody needs to make a book called The Time Traveler's Guide. Each chapter is a premise of you being stranded back in time in a different era. It would have information you need to change the world with available technology at the time. Like say how to make gunpowder and a cannon if it was 1300s Europe. Maybe there's a book like that out there already, and if so, it's Amazon time. And then in the case of this thread, have the digital copy before you get sent back and go to the 1800s chapter and write down what you can before the battery dies. They are both written by Ryan North. The poster came first, then he wrote the book. Insanely entertaining stuff. Good thing I've downloaded Wikipedia. I've been meaning to do this but stopped when I realized it's not a simple download button. Can someone Li5 me the process so I can try again? Besides experiments, voltaic piles were used industrially for electroplating until the invention of the dynamo generators as a power source. They were big. Best bet. Go to London. Show up at the Royal Academy, show off the camera, and get them to help front seed capital. Grab Davy's 2000 cell pile, and move the cells in 2 parallel stacks of 10. Did they really hold open court expecting random common people to turn up with fantastic inventions? I suspect it was more like a rich guy's country club where the price of admission was rather steep. They held open court during their meetings, and you could probably go to Somerset House or Cambridge to find one of the fellows. Just showing the smartphone would certainly elicit interest. I'd take photos until my battery would run out. Then I'd leave the phone in some safe place waiting for time to catch up so someone can find it, charge it and find the photos. Sounds great on paper. Unfortunately data rot is a thing, so after about 20 years, best case scenario, the data will start corrupting and the odds of anything readable being left after 200 years are very slim. Flash memory is a pretty poor choice for long-term storage, unfortunately. He's talking about a physical process. The physical storage degrades. Hard drives fail. The files are just a string of numbers, so you really just have to keep the information intact by copying it and keeping it in multiple places. It's like if you wrote things in a journal. The paper would break down over time, but you could preserve the information by copying it every now and then. It's like if you wrote things in a journal. The paper would break down over time, but you could preserve the information by copying it every now and then. You know, for the most part, that's actually why we have the ancient texts that we do have. The originals are long gone, having rotted away centuries ago, leaving us with just the copies people made over the years. The memory in the phone will have degraded by 200 years. Even forensic recovery wouldn't be able to put the data back together. It'll degrade to an unreadable state within just a few years, let alone 200. Well, I suppose, if a DVD's written layer was made out of crystal. It's not. It's a thin layer of metal material. It might be readable for hundreds of years. We're still talking like a virtually insignificant amount of time compared to the time spans that archaeology tends to deal with. Don't use it. Find rich person. Demo its uses and leave out the battery stuff. Sell it to rich person for a ridiculous amount of currency. Get as far away as possible. I'm willing to pay you a small fortune for this. How does $100 sound? I mean, it's less than what I paid for it, but I guess I can invest it in the past, I think. Not sure how my time machine works exactly. You could probably even explain the battery and sell it to an ambitious industrialist. If you can sort out generating the power, it would work forever. The first electric generator was invented in 1831, so someone was probably working on it. You'd be far better served with disassembling to charge the battery directly without involving the software circuits. It'll even compensate for some line variance in the voltage that way, rather than giving you some stupid USB protocol error and shitting the bed. I can't tell if I'm being whooshed or not, edit, because 10 potato cells are not gonna even come close to providing the required current, not because I don't know that potato batteries exist. Plus I'm not even sure if zinc or a similar substitute was widespread enough back then to be easily accessible. Yeah, but it's actually not a small step to go from generating electricity to producing a precise stable current. Need to get the voltage current pretty much exact. How do you measure 5 volts? What's the standard if you want to use the battery's output as a comparison? By the time you create a generator multimeter, the battery's probably out of charge. Edit. Okay, I get it. Apparently it's easier to build a battery than I had assumed. Well, if I went back in time I woulda just had to hang my head in shame, but that's probably why I won't be going back in time anytime soon. I would construct a crude battery and put the lids to my tongue. You know what a fresh 9V feels like, so I would guess 5V would be perceptible but not as zappy. Edit. I'm shocked someone gave me some silver. It is also a hugely advanced calculator. Can accurately measure time down to 0.01 of a second and got a nifty and battery draining flashlight. Also, my phone has some 80-100 ebooks, a modest library by 1820 standards. So it do have some other nice uses for a 19th century person. Actually, thinking about it, I might just want to take some notes from a couple of the history books on my phone. I thought if this, then with my luck as I'm demoing it would be like 20% battery left, low power mode. It's fully charged, you can turn it off before the demo. It doesn't have to be a long demo. Also, a person from 200 years ago won't understand what that means. Die of like a million different viruses and illnesses that I am not immune to. Also spread around modern superbugs that will eradicate all human life on Earth. Also take a selfie before I die. Whoever has hardcore history downloaded on their phone is about to be a prophet. Edit. To those of you complained butterfly effect and shit. I just mean publish an article in a local paper about your predictions a month before it happens. It wouldn't cause a ripple at all, and would most likely be looked upon afterwards. Kind of like Nostradamus. That doesn't sound like a bad punishment. Sure, you'd have to model for the artist to draw you and the quartering would violate the Bill of Rights, unless it's during wartime. But what's so bad about having your picture on display? It would presumably be somewhere prestigious if the government paid for the artist and provides shelter for you. Without much technical knowledge, not a whole lot. It isn't like the internet was in existence 200 years ago, so unless you had a lot of info saved locally, it isn't very useful. Maybe use it for a flashlight for a while. I had my stupid camera app tell me it wouldn't use the flash for the camera because the battery was too low. It was at 12%. If one flash is going to take the last 12% of my battery, something is seriously wrong. I was at home and about 5 feet from a charger, BTW. I just wanted to get a photo of my cat doing something stupid that wouldn't still be happening after I left to charge my phone 3%. My phone gives me a pop-up and wishes to confirm that I did intend to turn my phone's volume to maximum. Like, come on, if I wanna go deaf that's my business. How much is the settlement for my spurious lawsuit really going to cost anyway? Show up to a world fair with my mysterious light box. Make a name for myself as an inventor, or at least some mysterious guy with a mystical device. Invent basic electricity generators and computers. Try to charge the phone with a hand generator or something. Try to reverse engineer the phone. My thoughts exactly. It won't be too hard to make a hand crank generator, as long as you have access to copper wires. After that you might as well change your name to Nikola Tesla. The tricky part would be getting the voltage amperage right. Plus it'd be best off if you had a removable battery, so you can touch wires directly to the battery LEDs instead of trying to fuck around with a charging port. I guess if you have prep time, you should save instructions on how to build a charger power supply on the phone before you travel. Find a merchant, preferably one in a royal court, demonstrate the camera recording abilities and talk up the potential of how you can use it to record and organize your royal life. Downplay lie when they ask how long it'll last. Get paid as much as possible and then haul ass out of that country, and preferably across an ocean as quick as possible. Turn the phone off and leave it in an attic. Live the rest of my days as any other person. On my deathbed, tell my grandchild about the phone and to go look for it. They find it, but the battery is probably dead by now and I don't know where I'm going with this. This is quite possibly my favorite comment of all time. It covers every base: anticipation, sympathy, nostalgia, and a cliffhanger that will never be revealed due to lack of direction. Kind of how I felt watching Lost. Or, the world wars do not happen, because technology is so advanced. Franz Ferdinand's Secret Service type entourage have glasses that detect metal, noticing the Bosnian nationals before they killed him. Thus, not setting off the chain of events that led to WWL. Communication devices would surely be far ahead of that time, allowing confusion between Serbia and Bosnia to be dealt with in more diplomatic manners. Camera, video recorder with editing software, audio recorder, insanely detailed world maps. You can still see a lot of stuff in offline mode, the most advanced calculator on Earth, the most precise timepiece on Earth, and that's all stock. I have star maps, bird and plant databases, for my area, spreadsheets, games, Snapchat filters, real mindfuck those would be, downloaded movies, huge archive of photos from the future. Your phone has a lot more potential 200 years ago than just acting like a camera. Use it to track down the one Wi-Fi signal that it detects, because that's obviously another time traveler who hopefully can get me back to my time. Assuming I was aware that this was going to happen and could prepare for it, I'd have downloaded as much from Wikipedia as possible. From there you'd be in a great position. If it was like, I just charge my phone and then walk out of my door and poof, I've unexpectedly traveled, then I guess I can use it to let them hear what kind of music we have in the future, show them some photos of my dog, and use it as a flashlight, but that's about it I think. Guess I better download some stuff from Wikipedia, just in case.